With Dark Phoenix coming out, a lot of people are seeing this story arc for the first time. Others have seen this adaptation multiple times and look for better adaptations. But let's talk about an adaptation that didn't happen. This is X-Men Evolution Dark Phoenix Saga. This is the saga that has been cancelled in the 5th season due to reasons that people don't really know about. But we'll be diving into the real reasons that we can find. But first, let's dive into some back history to give us better context on this story. X-Men, Pride of the X-Men. This was a short-lived series, and by short-lived I mean one pilot episode. This series was a pilot on the Marvel Action Universe block. After airing in 1989, it seemed to not get any reception. Therefore, it was taken off the air and only used as an arcade game for the X-Men. This series only told X-Men stories through the point of view of Kitty Pryde, of course, being the pun of the name of the show. This was later put on the shelf to make room for the new X-Men series that would revolutionize cartoons based on superheroes, along with Batman the Animated Series. In 1991, Margaret Lash became the head of Fox Children Network, and she always liked the X-Men Pride of X-Men show, well, the pilot. She later set up a few production teams to work on a new X-Men series titled simply The X-Men. Later, next year, X-Men premiered in 1992. With the season airing, with a lot of continuity issues and also creating its own stories away from the comics, it was one of the most revolutionary series out there for comics and cartoons, alongside Batman the Animated Series. Despite the series' high ratings, it had to be cancelled due to Marvel filing for bankruptcy in 1996. Although they filed for bankruptcy, Sandman, the production company working with this series, requested another season. They actually funded it. Then the show got canceled in 1997. And that was the last of that show. Now, to get into the meat of this video, let's talk about X-Men Evolution, that debuted in the year 2000. With the executive producers of the X-Men series coming back for X-Men Evolution, this was a new page for them to start over. The basis of this series was that a lot of the students are teenagers learning how to use their powers, making the show teenage so that it can grab teenagers' attention, of course, instead of having adults, excluding Professor Xavier, Wolverine, Magneto, Mystique, and a few others. Beast as well. He was a professor. Another reason is that they wanted to give the X-Men new costumes. As you can see in the series, is slightly different than their other counterparts. A lot of original concepts tend to be cut, such as Mystique being fully nude. They did not want that in a kid's show, so they gave her clothes. And later, if you watch the series, she changes her look because the writer was satisfied with how she looked in the first place. With the original X-Men series, the same thing happened. They wanted the tone of the series to change to a more kid-friendly tone. Readers always wondered what would happen if it wasn't a kid-friendly tone, as well as the people who watched. Season 4, the last season of X-Men Evolution, they did the Apocalypse Saga. A lot of people like this saga even more than the live-action adaptations. So people always wondered what would happen if there was a Dark Phoenix Saga. The reason why people think that there is a Dark Phoenix Saga, if you look at the end of the episode, or the end of the season of Season 4, they showed clips of Jean Grey not controlling her powers, implying that the next season, if it were to come, would be the Dark Phoenix Saga, as well as wrapping up the Brotherhood and so on. And people speculated that this season would have been a darker tone because all the styles that these characters were drawn in was a more mature style than usual than you would see in the series. Others say the series just ended because the other seasons didn't end that way, foreshadowing the future. If you ever watch a movie, it always foreshadows the future and so on and so forth, like how it was supposed to end. And this is the only season where it foreshadowed the far future as if it wanted to end. However, the reason why this series didn't end on its own accord is because season 5 was actually cancelled, meaning it was in production. And the reason why for this cancellation was because of money issues. Financial reasons such as the season costing $350,000 per month, for that was their budget. Marvel Entertainment did not like what was happening behind closed doors and ultimately opted for the season to be cancelled. Not just the season, but the whole series. However, there's a lot of things that happen behind closed doors. That's why the full answer is not there. However, we have come this far to know that it is because of money reasons and the cost of the whole series would it tend to make. Despite all of that, the series sold a lot of merchandise, action figures, and so on. Later, we'll see Wolverine in an action short film called Hulk vs. Wolverine. It was a double feature, also featuring Thor. Then shortly after this, in 2009, we get a new X-Men series called Wolverine and the X-Men. Now, this series featured a lot of people who worked on X-Men Evolution. Even though X-Men Evolution creators stated that this is not a continuation of X-Men Evolution, there's a lot of similarities that people came up with to make this theory happen. The number one thing is that this series starts off with a Dark Phoenix saga. Out of all the sagas they could have came to, it started off with the Dark Phoenix saga. However, that's not the main thing. There are other things as well. So this series starts off basically the premise with future Professor Charles Xavier communicating with the present X-Men, telling them that if they disband, which they do in the future, the Sentinels will overconquer them and they need to stay together to stay strong. And that's how the series starts off. However, one of the reasons why they did split up is because the Phoenix came out in Jean and created this big explosion, and Jean disappeared and Cyclops got mad and a lot of things like that. So it was based off of kind of like the Sentinels as well as the Dark Phoenix sagas. Like they combined the two ideas at the same time. So they combined the Sentinels and the Dark Phoenix saga. It's almost like they wanted to do the Sentinel thing as well as incorporating the Dark Phoenix saga that is the next season of X-Men Evolution. And this series starts off in a very dark tone. Usually in the X-Men series, it shows X-Men wanting to get equal rights as the humans. But in this series, it was more like X-Men fighting away genocide. And this dealt with genocide more than any other adaptation that readers have ever seen. As this series was not afraid to show the X-Men not being alive. This show's ratings were high enough for it to get another season. However, the second season of this series was cancelled. Again. The reason for this cancellation this time is because Disney was buying the rights to Marvel, while Fox had the rights to the X-Men movies. And partners getting upset with all the drama, they left, leaving the season unaired. The season was so much in production that there are screenshots and names of episodes. After all of this, there was the X-Men anime and the Wolverine anime. However, anime is a different field as they can get more mature without any consequences. Series tend to get serious and serious over time or have special episodes dedicated to be serious, but this is the show that started off serious in the first season, indicating that multiple other seasons it will become even more serious and more serious. The potential of this series is unlimited, but it was cut. And it is strange to fans how, even though the second season of this show was cancelled, we have details on what would have been like. For example, Colossus would have been in season 2 of Wolverine and the X-Men. However, the doors are shut for season 5 of X-Men Evolution, as if they were trying to hide a secret of something. People might say it's coincidence. However, fans are skeptical, as the creators of X-Men Evolution was so bothered by not airing the Dark Phoenix saga, they had to revamp it in a different way through X-Men with Wolverine. Again, the main premise of this show was future Professor Xavier communicating with the present X-Men, telling them what happens in the future so they can prevent it. They didn't have to put the Dark Phoenix in there, but they somehow managed to. Even though the Dark Phoenix was the catalyst of the whole series because of causing the explosion for the X-Men to split up, they didn't have to put it in there. Even though they verbatimly stated that this is not a continuation of X-Men Evolution, of course, because they're not teenagers. The Dark Phoenix saga and X-Men Evolution will take place years later on, and so that indicates that all the people who are teenagers in the X-Men series would in fact be older, just like Wolverine and the X-Men. So Wolverine and the X-Men can hypothetically be a connection to X-Men Evolution. However, it's not a canon connection. It's kind of a loosely connected series in a way. It seems like all the series ended because of financial issues, because at the end of the day, this corporation, or corporations all around the world, are ran by money. Fans enjoyed X-Men Evolution's adaptation of the Apocalypse saga. Hypothetically, they would enjoy the Dark Phoenix saga of X-Men Evolution that they're trying to get. The production was cancelled, meaning that it had started, but it got cancelled. And we have a lot of information on Wolverine and the X-Men second season. However, we don't have any information on season 5. We only know that it would have the Dark Phoenix saga due to the end of season 4. The search continues on, and maybe fans will find what they want to find in the end. However, with the way how production teams go and the way how lost media is, sometimes things will just never be found.